Shirley, do you want to pray us in?
Do I want to read what?
Do you want to pray us in?
You
Do I want
talking?
to, wait. Do I want to do what?
Say a prayer.
Oh. Lord God of our being, and all that awaits us at our journey through life. We are fortunate, and we thank you, God, for the connections that we take on a weekly basis that weaves us through our weeks, our months, our years. And so we are blessed, and we thank you, each one of you. That shares a piece of them. And we gather it, and we can use it to forward ourselves as we walk, run, cry, laugh through our lives. And we thank you, Lord, for the blessings of family, friends, and the Madonna ministry as we go forward, bringing your energy and your love to us. Namaste.
So it is. Thank you, Shirley. That was beautiful.
You're welcome.
So everybody tell me, since our last meeting, were you able to dowse? Did you discover anything dowsing?
No.
No?
Honestly, no.
You didn't. Okay, well, I just want to remind you that practice isn't important for this, like any other skill. It's important to focus on dowsing, and you can use it with everyday things, like questions like, is this apple better for my body than this banana? You know, if you're trying to decide what to eat. Will I enjoy this Netflix documentary more than this movie? So you can just play with it and use it in mundane ways. And in so doing, then you begin to build your confidence and your skill level with dowsing, and you can use it for things like we're going to use it for today. And that is soul retrieval. Now, how many of you are familiar with soul retrieval? Perfect. So, Paula, where did you come in contact with it, or what is your...
With Jean Mandeville. When we work with Jean Mandeville, she does past life regressions and soul retrievals.
Oh, so cool. So she does it through the vehicle of past life regression.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How about you, Laura? Where did you get it?
I did it through a shaman friend of mine, Marion Vitale. Some of you know her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and how did she do it? Did she go journeying? Did you journey with it? Okay.
Just through a journey.
Sure. And if we have time today, we could do a journey if that's something you want to do. But I want to show you how to do it with a pendulum, which is really kind of cool. And it really illustrates the use of pendulums in getting to the heart of something. So let me share my screen. Let me try to share my screen here. Share screen. So I was in an incredibly festive mood when I made these slides, so don't let them put you off. So yeah, we're going to talk about restoring wholeness and balance, and we're going to talk about what a soul retrieval is. And for Paula and Laura, if I miss anything, please just fill in. But what a soul retrieval, the whole theory behind a soul retrieval is that as we go through trauma in our life, and traumas could be little t traumas, like stubbing your toe when you're trying to get somewhere, which is a minor trauma, to the huge traumas that we're all aware of. And there's also collective traumas. The traumas of watching George Floyd die on TV is a huge trauma. The trauma that we're probably going to experience this election season. You know, all of us are a little bit more wound up in that than we'd like to be. So what happens with a trauma is, in order to protect the integrity of the whole, a little piece of the soul breaks off and it goes someplace else. So the part of the soul that was traumatized breaks off. And so it leaves you with less than a whole soul. And that's why we say that doing a soul retrieval restores wholeness and balance. Because as we go through life and we shed these pieces of our soul, it seems like sometimes the older we get, the more sensitive we get. And that may be, in my mind, that is why. It's because so much of us has been lost to just living. So let's see, let's go to this. So soul retrieval is a shamanic practice, as Laura mentioned, to recover lost parts of the soul. And it's aimed at healing trauma and emotional distress. Because if we have you know yourself, if you have an injury, every time you use that part of your body, like for example, I remember being a kid and having like a sore on my ankle, and then I realized I kept kicking that same sore, and it just made it worse and worse. And so that's kind of how things go through with us in life. We have a trauma, and then we have something that reminds us of that trauma, and we just keep kicking that sore, and it just gets a little bit worse and worse until, you know, if you've ever known an older person who may be somewhat rigid in their belief system, it's because they're trying to shield themselves from trauma. So shamanic journeying is where you enter an altered state of consciousness using drumming or meditation. Go to the spirit world. The shaman will go to the spirit world and locates and retrieves that fragment and then brings it back into the body. And I can remember, I think one of our conferences, maybe back in the late 90s, we actually did a soul retrieval, I think, as part of the conference. It was one of the programs there. So you can do this through ritual and ceremony. You could create a sacred space with tools like crystals, feathers, and incense to facilitate the retrieval process and to set the tone and the intention. And then what you really want to do is ensure the safe return of all your soul parts. Because, you know, what's happened is that soul has been away from you for so long, it may not want to come back, or it may be fearful of coming back. And so there's some groundwork that needs to be done prior to the soul retrieval itself in order to integrate that piece of your soul and in order to make sure that it stays with you and doesn't fly off again. So we also talked about a guided visualization as a way of getting to soul retrieval. And we've done guided visualizations here on Sundays at times. And in that guided visualization, it just allows you to find those pieces of your soul in the all that is, reconnect with those pieces, and then invite them back in, and then actually bring them back into yourself. So how can we use dowsing for this? So the gentleman who wrote the paper that we just talked about, and I can put it on the screen in a second, came up with a specific protocol of questions that you ask of your guides and spirits and angels, the same ones that we installed last month as part of your dowsing panel or your dowsing guidance. You ask them to find the missing part and to bring it back. And then you ask them if there's anything that needs to be done prior to bringing that piece back. And then, is it even worth returning that missing piece? I mean, is it a piece that is really going to be integral to our soul's journey? So that's what we're going to use dowsing for. And if you have, I'll put it on the screen. Let me stop share and bring it back up, start share again. Here it is. Okay. Okay, this is the document that we were talking about earlier on. And this one was done by, I want to get this guy's name. He didn't put his name at top, of course. It was a comp like Don Taylor. And it was one of the trainings that they give for the American Society of Dowsers. He was actually gave a talk on this one night, and it was really, really quite interesting to see uh, how dowsing could be used. So, then we have a question. If you do, just stop me. I know I tend to blab a little bit. Um, so the goal of this, or the intent, is to find the soul fragment, reintegrate it, and then bring it into resonance with wholeness and health. So how do you do the spirit retrieval? Well, according to Don Taylor, you realize there's a fragment missing, intend for it to return, be open to guidance from your spirits, and relinquish anything that stands between you and joy, love, balance, and wholeness. And let's see, let's go down here. We're on page. And the thing I like about his protocol is self-forgiveness and forgiveness of others to release fear is a big part of this protocol. And I think that fear is a big part of why those fragments have gone from us. It's because they kind of hold the space for our fear so that we don't have to confront it day after day after day. So he also has a lot of, I guess you could call legend or myth around soul retrieval. And to me, I like to keep things pretty simple. I don't think that it's always important to do ceremonies or to create beliefs like you can only do a soul retrieval on the third full moon of the year, during the summer in white. I mean, I think all of those things are important, but not at the level of practicality. And so I really wanted to show you practically how to get this done. Now, the spirit allies, if you recall the programming that we did last month with our pendulum, where we talked about our angelic beings, the Christed presence, our healers, and all of that. And we programmed that into our subconscious as being the people that would answer our dowsing questions. So when you start off doing this soul retrieval, here's the protocol. So you just tell the universe that you're interested in doing, you intend to do a spirit, you intend to retrieve a spirit fragment associated with a memory of whatever. You can either use a memory, but some of our trauma or some of the things that caused our spirits to break off happened before we had memories. They may have happened while we were pre-verbal, so we don't really have anything other than a feeling associated with it. So you could associate, instead of saying associated with the memory of, you could say associating with the feeling of. And that would always be a negative feeling, right? Feeling of, in some cases, guilt, grief, shame, anger. And then reiterate that you relinquish anything that stands between yourself and joy, love, and wholeness, and that you seek beauty, harmony, and the balance of gifts of their soul. And then we remember the protocol, may I, can I, is it appropriate to learn about the feeling of whatever you choose? And ask yourself that question right now. You can ask it in your mind, and if you have a pendulum, see whether it gives you the yes or no. Hey, if you've got an answer. The cool thing about this, for you mathematicians, the cool thing about this is it's kind of written like one of those old computer charts that we used to use. Like, you ask yourself the question, is this memory a thought form? If it's no, go to B, and there's thought form questions. If it's yes, go to the thought form questions below. So you have a whole series of steps, depending on the answer that you get, that you can continue on through. So a thought form question is something that either you or someone else has brought into your auric field. That is something that For example, we know that negative, we are capable of putting in negative thoughts into our thought field. And some people believe these negative thoughts actually create a thought form, and that this thought form can then affect us. And it's also the nature of a curse, if you believe in curses, that other people can send us negative thought forms. So the opposite of a thought form, or the other side of a thought form, is maybe it's a cellular thing, maybe it's a historical or genetic thing that you're carrying in your body or in your soul as part of your incarnation or as part of your journey. And so if it is a thought form, then you respectfully ask your spirit allies to remove the emotional charge off the memory or the thought form and disperse it to the light for cleansing. And you get a yes or no. If you get a no, it's important that you don't work with this particular thought form or this particular issue at this time. And you just go ahead and either try to figure out why, or just wait till another time. Maybe it's not healthy for you at this moment. Maybe it's not accessible at this moment. Maybe it's just not a good idea. And we rely on our higher self to let us know that with a no. And so that's what we do. Let me see. There we are. Okay. And then he asks you to think of the situation where the memory or the feeling was created. And he goes through that. And then you ask the question, can the spirit allies make the marker of this memory about, or this feeling about, releasing negative thoughts I have about me, accentuating my joy, balance of living through the richness of my memories, either yes or no. And then it tells you what to do. And then it lets you know if the memory is associated with a fragmentation of spirit, yes or no. Is it in your highest good to retrieve this spirit fragment, yes or no? Am I prepared to receive this fragment of my spirit, yes or no? If no, do I need to forgive myself to receive the soul fragment? If you get yes to that question, then you go on to this forgiveness of self. And you would say this to yourself while you're swinging your pendulum in a neutral position. And you would just go through this paragraph to forgive yourself on all levels. And then you ask yourself, do you need to forgive others? And if you get a yes, there's a whole protocol here on forgiveness of others. And one thing that you'll know when you're taking away something, when your pendulum is spinning, let me put it in front of me. When your pendulum is spinning clockwise, spirit is adding something, is usually the thinking. When your pendulum is spinning counterclockwise, it's removing. So if you need to remove an emotion, and this is more Raymond Grace material, and we'll go into that a little bit later. It will spin negatively or spin counterclockwise until that whole removal process is complete. And then it will spin through neutral back to positive to let you know that whatever you've asked for is being added to you. So that's kind of a cool way to understand what's going on, the pendulum, besides yes and no. And then you ask yourself, is there something I need to work through? Yes or no. And if you do, then you just say this prayer to relieve the pain of past traumatic circumstances. I ask for your grace, relieve me of the memory, help me resolve the fears, help me grieve the pain, help me heal from permanent injuries, physical or psychological, relieve me of the guilt I feel. And if there's any other conditions other than those that I've named, help me to resolve those issues. And then cure by your grace my infirmities, heal my wounds, forgive me from inflicted or self-inflicted traumas, rid me of all pain of body and mind. And while you're saying this prayer, just allow your pendulum to do what it's going to do. If it's going to remove counterclockwise, if it's going to If it's going to add, then it should be clockwise. And then you check. Did I give this away? Did I give away the soul fragment in order to save myself pain? Or was it taken away in this or other lifetimes? And if yes, then you go down to other causes of fragmentation. And then, you just go on, and it goes on for quite a while. I mean, you're going to want to give yourself probably 20 to 30 solid minutes to go through these questions. But I really love the way this is laid out and the way that it goes step by step through. And then finally, at the end, is the spirit fragment energetically or emotionally ready to be reincorporated into my being? You'll get a yes or a no. If you have to heal the fragment, there's a prayer here for healing fragment. And you can reassure that the fragment is loved. You're doing all you can to ready yourself for the return, accepting it with love and joy. And then I really like the way this is worded in terms of, now I'm an adult, I'm looking at this differently, I'm ready to welcome you back, this piece of myself that I've shed in the past. And then you ask the spirit allies to help to make the fragment safe to return to you. And then we ask the spirit allies to bless the fragment itself as it returns and welcome it home. So part of this, he has a whole different self-forgiveness dowsing program, which in my mind is a good thing to do almost every day. And he tells you exactly how to do it. Get permission first, like we talked about, and then just go through the steps. This will help you. This program helps you to not to have to go through all these questions again. So let's see, let me move you. And let me go back up. Okay, so this is the program like we programmed for our angels and guides. This is the program where we program our subconscious to understand the forgiveness of self, so that you don't have to go through everything that we went through up above. And then when you want to forgive yourself, instead of rereading all the conditions for each spirit fragment, you just say that you want to activate the forgiveness of self program. So that is how we can do. I mean, I went through it pretty quickly. Are there any questions about any of it? Any thoughts?
Yeah, yes, I do. Thank you for asking. You might be sorry for asking, but thank you.
Charlie, you can never make me sorry.
Okay, I had a dream this morning. I ended up in a homeless shelter spending the night, and I was sexually violated. And I had the mixed emotions of shame and pleasure. Now, the question I would have, can you use your dowser to help me? Can you ask the questions that you think would be pertinent to come up with an answer to assist me through this? Now, as you were talking, some insight or an idea that I had probably means I probably sexually violated somebody in a previous life. Maybe that's what I need to work on.
So it could be that, but I would think that the feeling of shame is, I think, inherent to most humans.
Is
I mean,
what?
that's the way it's inherent to most humans, that feeling of shame. Once you get past a certain age, I mean, that's how we're controlled, or at least that's how Paul and I were controlled as heavy duty Catholics, was the feeling of shame.
I call us
and-
a Catholic.
all right. But what I'm trying to say, Charlie, is I don't know that, I think the feeling is more important than whatever act caused it. And that's what is so cool about bringing these fragments back, is because if we were to look at your dream in the lens of what we've talked about today, I would say that your psyche is trying to tell you that there's a whole big piece of shame, a big fragment of shame from your soul that's separate from your soul that wants to come back. And that's why it's come into your dream. That's why it's made you feel shameful. And so we could work on, we could go through this whole thing working on that feeling of shame. Remember, we talked about being able to use feelings instead of incidents. And we can, in this case, use the incident. But to me, I think as I've done some study, and maybe Bobby can help with this, but it really doesn't matter any longer about how you got to where you are. It's that you're there, and we need to relieve the suffering. And so the talk therapy, I think we're coming around to a conclusion that talk therapy just made people sicker as they relived and relived and relived. But this and other modalities that allow us to work with the trauma without having to relive the trauma, work with the residue of the trauma, is much more effective in relieving us of our issues. What do you think about that, Bobby? Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I think that that's a good point. It's a good book written by a psychologist by the name of Dr. Brene Brown. And if any of you have not read her, I highly recommend you read that. She's written several books on shame and guilt and how they play such a central role in our life. So if you haven't read her book or books, please get them and read them because they're really great.
Yeah, thanks, Bobby.
Yeah.
I've been working a little bit with heart math, and that's one of the principles that they are using, is that it doesn't, whether you have a false memory or a positive memory or a bad memory, it doesn't matter. It's how it makes you feel. It's how it is hooked onto your nervous system, and now creates a new way for you to operate. And what we want to do is try to remove that from your nervous system and then restore you to normal operation, apparently.
Absolutely.
So, so if you want to, we can do some dowsing on shame. The other thing we can do is do a guided journey on shame with the focus of spirit retrieval. It's up to you guys, whatever you want to do.
Well, I'm open for anything, and I have to hold the computer close to my ear so I can even hear. So, but
Okay.
thank God I'm still here to do that.
You're still here to hear, Char, and that's why we love you. Okay, let's see. If we do the dowsing, there may be people that get yes and other people that get no. So I'm not sure how we would do that in a group. So I think I would leave you to do that on your own. And I think, let's see, but I think we can set the intention to retrieve a spirit fragment associated with the feeling of shame. If everyone wants to do this, if you don't want to do this, I guess I'd ask you just to drop off the call. But if the majority of people want to do this, we can go ahead and do this. Look at shame.
Well, it sounds like you've made a decision without using a dowsing.
Well, I am a little bit psychic, Char.
Okay.
I'm also a little bit practical. So I'm trying to make it as practical as I can for everyone.
That'd be great.
Okay. All right. But we can set the intention to retrieve a spirit fragment associated with the memory of shame. And we can also take a deep breath now and set the intention to relinquish anything that stands between you and joy, love, and wholeness. And set the intention to seek beauty, harmony, balance, and to find the unique gifts of my soul and spirit without shame. So let's sit in our chairs and take a deep breath and blow out longer than you breathed in. And that'll help to set your nervous system. So take another breath in and blow out. Into the count of 3 and out to the count of 6. Now find a space in your heart and breathe from your heart. Breathe in to a count of 3 through your chest, through your heart, and breathe out to a count of 6. And now as you feel that energy enter into your heart, find some compassion for yourself. This is before we get started. But find some feelings of loving careness and compassion as you breathe in and feel the energy in your heart beginning to swirl. So breathe in, breathe out. Find that compassion for yourself. And now, imagine yourself sitting in a beautiful space, your favorite space. It could be floating on a cloud. It could be sitting on your back porch. It could be sitting by a stream in a forest, an ocean. Find that place that makes your heart just open up. Breathe out. Use all of your senses to see this place. Use your eyes to find the beautiful colors and the shades. Use your ears to hear the sound of the wind or the water, or the leaves rustling, or the branches falling. Use your sense of touch to feel the area around you, the support that you're sitting on. And then open yourself up to the feeling of this place, the calmness, the peacefulness, the safety of this place. Feel yourself sitting in this place and feel the calm, safe support underneath you. Now, open up your first chakra and feel the energy flowing from your body into the earth as you ground yourself to Mother Earth. And you can do this with an elevator, you can do this with a stream, you can do this with just a flow of energy, of color, of light. But imagine yourself just grounding to the earth. And imagine all of the elementals inside the earth, of the earth, holding on to you tightly. Because we're going to go to the farthest reaches of our souls, and we want to make sure that we're. And so now sit for a moment in this beautiful place, activate all of your senses and your feeling, and allow yourself to be grounded to the earth. And as you sit there, notice, if you will, that your right side seems to extend out farther than you can see. And your left side seems to extend out farther than you can see, into the darkness, into the ether, into everything that surrounds you. Feel yourself expanding and enlarging right and left side. And this is a comfortable feeling. This is a feeling of calm and warm, of stretching as though finally you've come into your own soul, into the space that you truly occupy. Now feel that energy as it rushes up through your spine, out the top of your head. And imagine that energy is filling all the pieces of you, all the parts of you, all the huge, huge part of your soul that exists outside your body, that exists everywhere, every when, everything. And as you feel this beautiful expansiveness, you might notice that you're even breathing a little bit easier because you've allowed yourself to come into your body fully and extend out to the farthest reaches of your soul, which reaches out farther than you can imagine. And as you take that deep breath in, you look around, your soul looks around. And in the darkness that surrounds you, in the all that is, in the everything and everywhere and every time, there's little glittering pieces, some big, some small, but they have their own luminescence and they light up one by one, like little stars all around you in the darkness, beautiful little stars. And as you focus your attention on these lights, lighting up one after another, after another, after another, you realize that these are pieces of you. These are pieces of your soul. Things that we thought would hurt us, so we sent them away. Things that went away of their own volition to save us, to keep us safe, to keep us from suffering. And now as you watch these lights light up, one of them is going to change colors. And that's the one that we know as shame. And look at the color of this piece of you. And look at the size of this piece of you. And look at the frequency of the light shining from this piece of you. And notice that hooked onto the shame are feelings of joy, of peacefulness, of gladness, of compassion, of love. Those are the pieces that you're looking for. And yet they're hooked onto the shame that you sent away or that has left your soul. And so now, ask the hand of the Creator, ask the hand of your angels or guides or whoever you depend on to help you, to separate those feelings of joy, of love, of compassion, of peace from this little piece of shame that you've allowed to go. And as they separate all of those positive, loving, caring feelings from shame, notice that the shame has changed color. And that fragment now is a rainbow of beautiful colors. And that fragment just goes skipping off joyfully because you've released it into the all that is, so that it can be transformed into something beneficial. And as it skips off, you feel your heart lighten up. It's gone. And you can see that the rainbow colors and the glistening lights, it just all of a sudden, in a poof, turns into beautiful golden glitter that falls. And so now ask the Creator, the all that is, the healer of your soul, to gather up all of these joy and this love and this compassion that is now freed by the releasing of the shame. Put it all in a beautiful basket of your choosing. And as they do that, notice that the color of these emotions change too. And notice that the lights are flickering so fast with anticipation of being returned to their source, being returned to your soul. And so now, as you pick up this basket and you turn it over the top of your head, and you see all these beautiful flickering lights re-entering your soul, filling in any gaps that may have existed in your soul, changing the color of your soul to the most beautiful color you've ever seen, creating a feeling of joy in your heart. You feel your heart flutter with this beautiful joy and love and compassion that's now come back to you. And we welcome these feelings. We release any unworthiness. We release any negativity. And we allow these feelings to fill in the void left by those negative emotions. And now you kind of do a happy dance in your mind because your soul is so much more complete now. And just retrieving that one little piece has created a whole new soul for you. And the soul will act on your body, creating health and well-being on all levels. And now breathe in this wonderful new feeling. And let's thank the Creator. And let's go one more step further. Let's do the Creator a solid by radiating this wonderful new feeling to all of creation. And let's imagine ourselves joining hands as our hearts are just beating in time with this beautiful, wonderful light shining from us, through us, and out of us. And it touches everything in the universe. And as the Creator works through us, we become creators. As the Creator heals us, we become healed. And as we become healed, we heal others. And so this wonderful circle of life, the true circle of life, now surrounds us, is in us and among us. Hold this feeling for a moment. This love, this compassion. And now allow yourselves to put your hands together in gratitude for the wonderful soul that supports you, for all of the lifetimes contained in that soul, for all of the opportunities yet to come, for all of the health and healing, for everything that, as they say, we are about to and have received. And now, imagine a party, just your soul is having a party because the fragments have returned. And the fragments are so happy to stay. They found themselves a place and they're not going anywhere. This feeling is permanent. And every time that you do this, every time you allow yourself to find another piece of you, it will be permanent and it will set a new level of healing, a new level of mind, a new level of creation for you, and open up incredible possibilities. So now, let's release Mother Earth of her duties of hanging on to us, and let's start to come back into our bodies. We can maintain our grounding. We can maintain contact with the all that is our soul. But we know that it's our duty to come back into this 3D world, into this body that's been given us. But as we do, we come back with a new awareness, a new sense of purity, a new sense of wholeness, a new sense of discovery. And so take a deep breath, exhale longer, and find yourself returning to the room, to your body, to your chair. Feel the temperature around you. Rub your hands together and feel the warmth. Because we are now in a new phase of creation. And when you're ready, stretch and open your eyes and come back. Don't know about you guys, but I moved to tears. That was really something.
Mm.
That was yummy. Thank you.
They're amazing. And so that's in a week, that is the second channeled soul retrieval I've been guided to do. So apparently that is something that is really needed in our world. So tell me about your experiences. What did you guys think? Were you able to journey? Did it help, Charlie?
Yeah, it helped a great deal. Thank you very much. The process was wonderful, and it put me back in touch with a guide that I've had many years ago that was the first opportunity to open up my heart many years ago. So it took me back to the same guide, the same location. But in the actual healing process, what beautiful thing happened. You know, we all see rainbows, right? Everybody's seen rainbows, but you only see half of the arc. I got the whole arc.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
the wholeness, and it radiated through me as me is wonderful. So, thank you very much for the process.
well, we thank whoever sends these, but yes,
Right. That was beautiful.
Thanks for hosting.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
That's awesome, Charlie.
That is awesome. You got 2 pots of gold then, right?
And I loved how you were using glitter and sparkly and transforming into different colors.
That's who we are. The
Right.
more, that's who we are. And we've been put in these meat suits, which makes it really hard and covered in polyester, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
we have to remember who we are. And I think it's going to be so important for us to begin this retrieval process, because I think we're going to need us. We're going to need all of us. We can no longer hide. We used to be able to hide in drugs and alcohol and everything that we used to do, and we can't do that anymore. We've neglected things for too long. And so I think that those of us who understand the importance of souls and understand the importance of recognizing the creator and the spirit within are really got our work cut out for us. But the great thing is we don't have to do it alone.
Right.
The guides, the people that channel these things to me will channel to you if you just open yourself to it and just start blabbing, which is pretty much what I do. So, and then not, we are so judgmental about what comes out. Don't worry about what comes out, because whatever comes out is whatever is needed, whether we think so or not. So thank you so much, you beautiful souls. And
Thank you.
I wish you guys would focus on dowsing, because I think, you didn't use it in your meeting either then, did you? Or did you? No?
I don't think we did we? At the board meeting.
Promises, promises, you guys.
Uh,
But anyway,
we did
I
promise
think,
that.
yeah, but I think
Oop.
if, as we open up psychically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally,
Yeah.
dowsing is just another tool to help us understand who we are. And so
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
hope that
Thank
if
you.
anybody, yeah, you're welcome. If anybody needs some help with dowsing or has questions, you can always contact me. I'm happy to help.
You created another form of dowsing. It's called dozing. Bobby's still sleeping.
That's funny.
She's
So the
taking it in
beautiful
through
is,
the
bless
astral.
her, the
So
the
just,
beautiful
so you
is,
know, she just has her eyes closed. She's not sleeping.
Okay.
but the soul always hears. Whether you're conscious or not, the soul always hears.
Yep.
So, yeah. Cool.
Caitlin, what was your experience?
Good morning.
Hi.
Morning.
It was just a
Hey.
very sort of white light, and I was concentrating on the feeling of just immense universal love, holding that in my heart, and that was very comforting. And I just kind of wanted to sit with that because it just felt so relieving with everything that's going on in today's culture. It's so nice to just feel that level of pure love and hold it in my heart.
Mhm.
So
It's
thank you for that.
beautiful.
That was lovely.
Oh, but it's beautiful. Your heart has room for it.
Mm.
I think that's what we're doing, is we're trying to make room for what pure love. Okay, well, if somebody wants to, let's see. Charlie, do you want to pray us out? And we can give you back a couple of minutes, maybe, if it's okay with Paula.
Yeah, I'll be happy to do that. But let's find out what's going on next week.
Next week is not Sharon. I don't think we have, or is
22nd.
it the solstice or something like that? Or that's later this month? I think we're open next week. Let me make sure. Yeah, we're open next week. So anybody have anything they want to bring to the table?
Yeah, I'd like to hear Caitlin come up with something.
And thank you for the YouTube,
Yeah,
Thank you.
Nikki. Appreciate it.
sure. Caitlin, are you prepared to present something next week?
How long does it need to be for? Half an hour?
Yeah, roughly. Then Q&A or whatever. You can be very flexible.
Anything
Yes.
your heart desires.
Yes, I can do that.
Thank you.
Want to give it a
Be happy
title
to.
so I can put it in the newsletter?
Yeah, let me just meditate on you know what? Food is thy medicine.
Oh, I like that. All right. Thank you. All right, Charlie.
All right, there's nothing else to be said. I'll be happy to pray us out. Does anybody else have any last minute thoughts? Okay, here we go. Thank you, God, for the spirit of your eternal self that animates all life and all creation. It animates each of us into who and what we are in this life form. And it provides us all we require to express our life fully, healthy, completely. It's astonishing all the creative aspects of itself that nurture each and every one of us into our full potential. And as each of us express that God-likeness within ourselves, we are beneficial presence to our community in service, in love, in peace and joy. In our creative fulfillment, we provide what we're here to give. And for that, I say, thank you, Father, Mother, God, and so it is.
And so it is.
So it is. Oh,
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Terry.
thank you. Terry.
One thing before we leave, you know the nickname you gave me many years ago of Polly? I
Mhm.
am now using that as my painter's name. Just
Oh, nice, Polly.
thank you. Yeah,
Well, I don't think I was the first one. I doubt.
you are. Nobody ever dared call me that before.
Well, it's me going where no one has gone before. That's for sure.
Yes.
And-
It is.
And we in New England, Terry, would love to see you in Harlan in person.
Oh, yeah.
That would be lovely. Really
Yeah,
good.
We'll even
Yeah.
make a party for you.
Patty.
There you go.
Well, we'll see what happens. First we have to get this thing, and then we have to figure out how to use it and figure out what to do with my cats. So I'll make the intention. We'll figure it out.
Awesome.
Looking forward to it.
All right, you guys. Love you all. Thank you so
Buddy.
much.
Love
Thank
you.
you so
Thank you.
much. Have a
Everybody
blessed
have a
day,
great week.
everybody. Love you
Blessings.
all.